Hey guys, how's it going? It's Kyle here with another Guardian Tales video. And in today's video, I want to talk about how I get roughly anywhere from 13 to 15 million damage per run here in the City Hunters raid here. So what I want to do is I'm going to go through all my teams. I'm going to show the items I'm using, what gear I'm using, how far I've invested in these guys, and kind of go over like the rotation and stuff I use, and just kind of uncut, show you what's up when it comes to these guys. So the first one would have been Ancient Demon here with a light team, but since he is almost dead, I can't really do that at the moment. So here, let's just start here with the Panda. This is going to be a dark team. Okay, so it's going to be a dark team to face him. And what I'm doing here, and there's a lot of different ways you can handle these bosses. These are the ways that I'm doing it currently, just based on how my roster is built. Skill regen speed, and ideally as much attack as possible. And the nice thing about Beth teams is they're very easy to pilot. Don't really have to worry about too much, at least with the Beth. It's really just about worrying if your AI is good enough to survive. And at the moment, actually, currently the team I'm liking more at the moment is not Eugene. If my Eugene was stronger, because I've even put her in a whole bunch of defense, and then this piece is just pure defense, so she still dies. So what I've been liking instead of her is I've been liking Karina. I think she's actually, you know, a solid replacement for her at the moment, so that's what I'm using here. And then there's definitely a lot more damage that can come from this if I actually wanted to limit break like Arabelle and Lupina. Arabelle would probably be the one I would choose now, especially after the buffs. She's actually really good. Okay, so it's just essentially just all, and I just kind of, I like to go through, just because switching all this gear is kind of a pain. I always just go through the same order when I'm switching out gear. And then for her, I like one of these guys. We'll do this one, and just more attack. Okay, so then now I think we got everything. Let's run it. But this guy, you just don't want to get interrupted. You really need to hit every single one of your weapon skills. So like right here, and then you should be tanking that. You can outrun it if you need to, but with Beth, the nice thing about her is that she just tanks it all with her shield. And he usually jumps right about here. And you don't want to get interrupted there. That's why I bring that up. And then you want to also keep your weapon skills going as long as possible, because you get a lot of downtime, like the status effect downed. And that's going to increase your melee damage. Okay, we got that. I just need to watch for the jump and make sure we hit this. We have 10 seconds. We can kind of milk it. Okay, so that we might have just got under 4 million there. Kind of shooting for 4 mil with this team. And then, as you can see, there's a lot of places to grow here with my characters. It could be better gear, could be limit broken characters. The only one that's limit broken for this team right now is Beth. And for this guy, this slime one, water team is definitely going to be the best. So Garam team, whole bunch of different choices you could take here. You can throw Nari in. You can do, if you need to, you can throw a healer. But my favorite is going to be this one with Veronica here. And so I have her in the training room now just because I wanted to see just how good she is. And also there's a thing in Amazon Zone that you can use with her. And so she's just a really good character. But I was using her with like 4-star, not much awakening. And she still brings a lot to the team. And she does a ton of damage, or adds a ton of damage to your team, which I think is awesome for a character with like super low econ requirements. I'm not getting that much bigger of a damage boost for actually putting her on this team. Actually putting her on this team fully leveled. It's actually kind of dope. And I don't use Nari normally. I was trying that for the training room. I normally use Coco. Nari is a good choice, and you could probably do a ton of damage. I just use Nari in a different team. As for him, I really like to have as much weapon regen speed as possible. Ideally this would be more, but just don't have a good role for that particular thing. It's a good role overall, but just not that one stat. I go here, but this one is a little bit more interesting on how you got to play. Not only you got to dodge, but you want to position yourself near Veronica to get those extra critical damage multipliers up, because it's a really low range on, you'll see the actual effect of it. It's really not that high. The AoE. So you want to like kite the status effects on the ground away, but then at the same time you want to run near her when you can to get benefits from her attack there. So then for her, because she gains damage and damage reduction based on her weapon skill regen speed, so I'm trying to get as much of that as possible on there, plus with attack. So that's why I'm picking that item for her. And then for Coco here, we're just going to do as much damage as possible here and here. So that's the team. And then as you can see, this is a fire character, but she has Rachel's weapon here. You want water on all of this because he's boosting water damage by 50%. Also, we have the status of, that we're going against a fire character, so you're getting multiple boosts there. So you really want to make sure everyone is water. And then here we go. Show you how this matchup works. You want to run. Probably should have ran a little further away to put it on me. I can get close to that. See that little effect there? Gotta run. And just milk out the airborne as much as possible. Another airborne incoming here, so that's why I'm waiting on the weapon. Dodge that, obviously. A little bit harder to actually pilot this. There's a lot of moving parts here. So that's how you run that. You definitely can optimize the run a little bit better on where to run. And also, since a lot of this is crit based, even if you played this correctly, like I would say this is kind of like a sloppier run. You can make it a lot more manageable, putting the AoE effects in the correct spots, and then you're running back to your team. Also, it's going to depend on, if you crit, like I was saying, and then mainly if your actual AI characters run in the correct areas. You want them all bunched up in the same spot, so they're all benefiting from her boost to your team, which I think is important. But when you're running it, you'll realize that you're going to have a lot of variance here in these runs, even if you play them correctly. The best I've done so far with this is 5 mil. I range anywhere from the 4. Before, I was ranging like 3.5 to 4 before I actually put her in the training room. But now that I have her in here, she's doing like 4.5 to 5 million for that one right there. And then when this has actually been defeated, I will show you the run with the light team. All right, so finally we were able to KO this guy, so I can actually do this in practice without it just instantly ending with that sliver of health. So I just want to go over some of the stuff I do for this. I like this comp a lot for a couple reasons. These are just really good characters for a ton of damage. Also, we have a dark, Ancient Demon is dark, so we're light characters. That's going to be a direct counter for that. But there's a lot of other things I want to talk about here too. So this is the build I'm using with her. One of the big parts of her kit too that helps with increasing a ton of damage is on sound of Heaven's hit, inflict 30% of DPS every 2 seconds and immediately reduces light type resistance, restores allies HP in the sanctuary. So having the weapon is super important, because if you don't have her base or her actual main weapon, the skill that they're talking about is flicks a bow and shoots at a sound wave, reduces light time resistance by 20% for 3 seconds for the enemy hit by the last attack. It's a massive difference between having to go through your entire charge versus immediately being able to proc it with her actual weapon. So you really want to have that. And it's really important to make sure everyone else is using light attacks, because you're going to get the increased effect of light versus dark, but then you're also getting that 20% resistance debuff on there. So that's why I have a light bow on Tinia, and then I have 2 light baskets for both of these characters here. And I should change this, the DPS thing. It's not really going to be impacted by a dark thing. So that's the main reason why I'm doing this. In the only situations I'd like to have everyone in my other party have a different type of weapon is when you have the type advantage, ideally, but then also you want to have your team either increasing light attack, or for example, it's very popular in a Garam team he's increasing water attack, so having water weapon is really important. You get that 50% water move. With her and Beth, for example, they do the opposite, where they decrease the resistance of either dark or light respectively. That's why I like to, if I'm throwing in Lynn or if I'm throwing in Eugene with Beth, I'm always putting them in a dark weapon as well. And so the same concept here for Gabriel here, because she's doing the light resistance debuff, so then putting them all in light is going to be important. Okay, so now let's actually get into this matchup here. Usually shoot for a little under 6 mil around that time, so we're gonna kite him around. Around about here is usually good, and then get that going. So we got the 50%. You want to hit him with all that. Kite him just a little bit longer, and then here we go. I usually start off with Nari. I'll go her. You want to get as much as the airborne as possible. So now we're just going to be waiting on this thing to come up, because you don't want to do this too early. I could weapon skill him now, but I'm just going to wait to make sure we're good and not ruin the next chain. Here, you want to try to do all your big moves during an airborne if you can. So anything that does good damage, you want it in the airborne, because it's 50% increased range damage. You have a lot of range characters. So that's pretty much the matchup. This one's actually relatively easy with her because you have so much healing built in, but you really want to try to min-max as much as you possibly can. Last one I got 6 million, but the defense definitely goes up pretty significantly each time you level up here. So it could be a factor there. It could just be, you know, crits and stuff, but that's how that matchup plays out. The big thing is just making sure you buy yourself enough time in the beginning to get your weapon skills off, because you really don't want him hopping around, and stopping him from hopping around, especially in the beginning, makes it significantly easier to stop him the next time. That's my version of the comps for the raid here, just 3 teams. If I had a 4th team, the team I'd use here would be a fire team with Lynn as the lead, Pillvice, and then it uses Amy as well, Akiyuki. So like, I think that's a good team. But I don't have Lynn or Pillvice leveled up, or Amy even, so that's why I'm not using that team. And these are the teams I have pretty much ready to go, and that's why I'm avoiding hitting this guy. You could also use so here's the team I was talking about, kinda. You could use Amy here. He could be doing too much damage, and you just don't have enough healing, so you kind of have to throw Maya in, and she's fire as well, so it's really not that big of a deal. And then you could also use a team like this. I just think you could get so much more out of it going into the Ancient Demon. If you have Gabriel, I mean, not many people have Gabriel actually leveled up, so totally understandable not to have that ready to go. But here's a lot of examples of what you could do to Shadow Beast if you want to. A lot of Naris, like all the high damage people seem to be with Naris. It's tough to do like really good damage to them, it looks like. So I don't have too much experience with them in this raid, so I can't really speak too much on that, but from what I've seen videos of, a lot of fire teams seem to do pretty well. So all right guys, well that's gonna do it for this. We got roughly a little under, what is it, a little under 6 million, so 6, 4, and like 6, 4, and 4, so 8, about 14 million if I want to be. And then depending on where you're at in your guild here, depending on how far you are into this, it could have been a little bit more, it could have been a little bit less. And so before I end the video, I do want to say, if you want to join the Discord, there's going to be links to a whole bunch of infographics on this game, on team comps, and as I go and find more useful information, that's going to be on there. Also discussions, if you just want to ask questions, it's a really good place to talk about Guardian Tales. And with that guys, I am out. Peace.